Alright, so I had what I thought was a good idea. I played every Life is Strange game in chronological order. That was a big mistake. Because these games are not games, they are emotional jump scares with a soundtrack. One minute you're like, wow, this is cozy, I like the vibes. And then the next minute the game is like, make a choice that will emotionally destroy you and you will live with it forever. So today we're going to be going through every Life is Strange game from Before the Storm and all the way to Double Exposure. Talking about the stories, the powers, and the choices I made, and how the series slowly but surely broke me as a person and needed to call my therapist. Let's get into it. So the first game we started is Before the Storm. We started Before the Storm, which is basically the origin story of Chloe Price. Professional hater, professional bad decision maker, and a full-time emotional wreck. That is on a resume. I think we should hire her. There are no powers in this game, no rewinding, no fixing mistakes, which honestly makes me hurt a little bit more. It makes me sad. I'm not gonna lie. Well, while it makes me sad, this whole game is about Chloe dealing with her dad's death, her mother moving on, and her feeling completely abandoned. And you feel that in how she talks to everyone. She's angry, she's sarcastic, and she's clearly using that attitude to cover up how she is messed up inside. Then there's Rachel Amber, the goddess above all, the popular chick that everybody loves. And look, Rachel has that main character energy, the kind of person who walks into your life and suddenly everything feels brighter, more exciting, and also way more dangerously emotional. Their relationship is cute, but also tragic, because if you have played the first Life is Strange, you already know how this ends. So the entire time, I'm like, man, I can't believe I got them together. I was basically their hype man, making the little two lesbians, make a good couple. But the backtalk system is just basically Chloe arguing her way through life, which is honestly fits her. It's less about winning and more about surviving conversations without exploding. Playing this first is evil, by the way, because it makes everything in the main game hurt way more. So the second game we play is Life is Strange. Now we get to the original Life is Strange with Max Caulfield. Max comes back to the Arcadia Bay and reconnects with Chloe, and immediately discovers she can rewind time after saving Chloe in the bathroom. And at first, the power feels fun. You're like, oh cool, I can fix my own mistakes. I could go back and reorder whatever I want. Sometimes you want to just spice it up a little bit. But as the game slowly teaches you that, yeah, you can rewind small mistakes, but not the big ones. The whole Rachel Amber mystery hangs over everything. You're talking to people, finding clues, and slowly realizing that this town is way darker than it looks. Episode 4 and 5 are just emotional war crimes, the hospital scene, the nightmare sequence, and the final reveals this game does not let you breathe at all. And then it hits you with a choice. Save Chloe or save Arcadia Bay. You're doing the whole time while we're fighting, surviving, trying to defeat Mr. Jefferson, trying to get away from Nathan. In the midst of all of that, we was trying to fall in love with Chloe Price. And of course, with my happy little heart, I saved Chloe Price. And do I feel a little bad about the town? A little bit, but not really. But after everything Max and Chloe has went through, after playing Before the Storm first and getting emotionally attached, I was like, I have suffered enough. Chloe, we are leaving. Are you tired of having to keep shaking your G Fuel and it still has trunks in it? Me too. That's why I am sponsored or partnered by Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy not only keeps me hydrated and energy focused, it doesn't leave chunks in the bottom of my cup every time I shake. My favorite flavors have been voted, unfortunately, but it was green apples and the cookies and cream when you mix in milk. But they also got like the Skittles version. These are for hydration, and then they also have some that is also energized. They also have cans now, and then also I think they're coming out with protein powders, or they did. But again, don't forget to use Kimori Alice for 2% off on Rogue Energy. Thank you. And now to game 3. The third game we play in chronological order is Captain Spirit. It has captains, but no spirit. Let me break it down for you. You play as Chris, a kid who uses his imagination to escape a really rough home life. His dad is struggling, the house feels empty, and the only way he copes is by pretending he is a superhero. It's a short but powerful because you're seeing the world through a kid who's really trying to make sure things are okay. And it also sets up Life is Strange 2, which means this is basically the calm before the emotional storm. When I was playing this game, I was literally trying my best not to make the dad angry. But we had to wake him up, and doing that scene, it really wishes that I could, have help kids more in their lives. So Life is Strange 2 is a completely different vibe from the other games we played. This is the fourth game I played in Chronicle order. You play as Sean after a tragic incident that happened in front of your house. So basically what happened was your brother was trying to hang out with you, play in the yard with you. You brush him away like every older sibling do, like, leave me alone, because you're getting ready for a party and trying to ask out your crush. But then you hear this loud ruckus happening in the fucking yard. Or you see this dude who was racist to you when you was walking from the school bus about to hit your brother. The choice I made was to attack the bully and not confront my brother. And then when we pushed him, he fell on the rock or the pebble. And then that's when a cop came over out of nowhere and was panicking, making sure that nothing, like he was just pointing a gun at us. And he was telling us to get down. That's when our dad comes out of nowhere and he shoots our dad. And then you're forced to run with your little brother who has telekinesis. So everybody's blaming you and your brother for the death of the cops. But that's the plot twist. We don't have powers, which means the game isn't about what I do with the powers. It's about what we teach him to do. And every choice feels like a parenting under extreme stress. And shout out to all the single parents and parents in general, because I don't know how y'all do it. Especially if you have a kid. Imagine you had a kid with superpowers. Oh no. Because we have to teach him to be kind, to be cautious, to be angry, to be selfish. The game remembers and it shows. In my ending, me and Sean, we went to jail. Which is such a quite realistic, kind of devastating ending, because there's no big victory, no perfect outcome, just the feeling that sometimes you do your best but the world still doesn't care. And that ending sat with me for a while. It is not flashy, just heavy. I was like, dang. Game number 5, True Colors. There is a character named Alex Chen who her power is empathy, but like turned up to 100. She can literally see and feel other people's emotions as auras and colors. Her backstory is a little bit different from everybody's. She was supposed to be the Rock after her mother has passed away. She was trying to keep her brother and her father together, make sure they're not fighting a lot, make sure they're strong and healthy. But every day, as a little girl, they were fighting every day. Until one night, the father was like, I'm leaving. So that puts her and her brother in a foster home. But during the foster home incident, her brother went to juvie, and he was gone for a while. And as she grew up, nobody wanted to adopt her or pick her. So as soon as she got to an age, and after she was done talking to her therapist, she had the option to go home to see her brother. But she did. And that leads to Heaven Springs. It's a cozy, and it feels like a return to the small town vibe of the first game. But of course this is Life is Strange, so everyone is hiding something. Alex's power is less about changing events and more about understanding people. You're not fixing time or throwing things with your mind. You're digging into how people feel and sometimes taking that pain onto yourself. My favorite episode was the LARP episode. Genuinely one of the best and most creative, most wholesome episodes in the entire series. It's the perfect emotional break before the story starts hitting harder again. This game feels more personal, more intimate, and honestly a little gentler. Still sad, but gentler. In my opinion, even though Before the Storm had the same thing, this one was more interactive, right? And I didn't get to say, but the same person, Steph, she from before the storm, she was also in True Colors, which I thought was great. There's a little section of True Colors that is about Steph's story. You can play it if you want. I'll play it just a little bit, but I got a little bored, in my opinion. It wasn't for me, so let's get to game number 6. It's heavy because if you save Chloe, you're not coming back as some fresh, optimistic character. You're coming back as someone who's been living with that decision. The tone is darker, more serious, more choices don't just disappear. This doesn't feel like cool time powers again. It feels like, oh, this is what the long-term consequences look like. And in my playthrough, I forgave Sophie. Not because it was easy, because after this entire series, I was like, I'm tired of breaking the cycle. I choose peace. Which, when I was so excited to play this game, I thought Chloe was gonna come back, but she didn't come back. She literally had bits of cameos, especially in like the sequences and pictures. It was kind of upsetting because I was like, where'd the girl go? But apparently they broke up. But it was cool to see like Twitter tweets from her and everything. But that was good. I liked it a little bit. It was boring at the same time. I was mixed emotions, but I think so yeah, playing Life is Strange and Chronicle Order, saving Chloe, getting Sean sent to jail, and forgiving Sophie is kind of the same because you don't just play a story. You watch your values show up in your choices. It's not about time powers, telekinesis, or reading emotions. It starts about being who you protect, what you're willing to sacrifice, and when you finally decide to let something go. Which is way too deep for a series. I originally picked up because it looked like a chill story game. And if you play these games, tell me in the comments. Did you save Chloe or save the Bay? What happened to Sean in your ending? And what did you do in Double Exposure? If you like this, hit like and subscribe and emotionally recover with me. And remember, these are not games. These are therapy sessions with a pause button. Thank you for watching.